Hey everybody, it's Dr. Will Cole live here in a functional medicine center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where we see patients around the world via webcam and phone via our virtual functional medicine practice, as well as patients locally here. And we haven't done Facebook Live in a while, so we're gonna kind of starting off the holiday season about really talking about stress. But we'll talk about stress and a practical tool that I did that I want to kind of challenge you guys to do as well. I want to tell you a little bit about functional medicine. Thanks for the likes, guys. So the main differences between functional medicine and mainstream medicine, the top thing is that we interpret labs using a thinner reference range. So on your labs you get from your PCP, your endocrinologist, we get those lab reference ranges from a statistical bell curve average of the population of that specific lab. So if you go to another lab, you may see that reference range vary, that normal reference range. There's a lot of people that go to the doctors and they say, hey, what's going on? Let's run some labs. The labs come back largely normal, and even though they know instinctively, hey, how I'm feeling, what I'm going through right now in my health isn't normal, what the doctor unintentionally is saying is you're a lot like the other sick people that make up the population of that lab. Because if you're going through symptoms despite normal labs, either they're not running the right labs or they're not interpreting the labs that are done properly, or both. So if you take people with health problems out of that reference range, what's left are people that live long, healthy, vibrant lives. That's a lot thinner range than the larger reference range. So that's the first thing we do differently. It gives you insight into why you feel the way that you do, a functional blood chemistry analysis. The second thing we do differently, hey, thanks so much. The second thing we do differently in functional medicine that they don't do in mainstream model of care is that we run more comprehensive labs. We are looking at underlying microbiome dysfunctions, nutrient deficiencies, toxins, hormonal imbalances, stress levels. We're looking at all these dynamics, these underlying root factors that give rise to people's health problems. And the third thing we do differently is that we realize we're all different. There's not a one size fits all. Thanks, Kent. Thanks so much. There's not a one size fits all to getting well. And functional medicine really is customized healthcare for the individual. So that's in a nutshell what functional medicine is. So I think it's good to kind of get a baseline understanding for what we're talking about here. Basically, a comprehensive health view of chronic health problems. And I consult patients all around the world dealing with these autoimmune spectrum disorders, these inflammatory problems, and fatigue issues. One of the fatigue issues that we see a lot is adrenal fatigue. It's something that you maybe see a lot on the health blogosphere world. It's a buzzword over the past couple of years. It's something that I've written a lot about on websites like My Body Green, which I'm a course instructor for and a wellness expert for. What is adrenal fatigue? I mean, the name kind of denotes some level of exhaustion, right? But the adrenal glands, most of you are aware, it's some sort of stress response. Adrenal fatigue is really a brain adrenal axis issue. It's the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or basically, what is your brain telling your adrenal glands? What is your adaptation to stress? So when you have adrenal fatigue, you can feel exhausted, you can feel irritable, you can be craving salty or sugary foods, you could be sleeping improperly and insomnia issues. You can get a second wind in the evening after that afternoon slump in energy. Many people are going through this. It's hard to estimate how many of us have some level of adrenal fatigue. I myself, in the past, I've working a lot of hours. I had 2 kids at home. I was sort of burning both ends of the candle with a blowtorch, and I realized I needed to do something differently. So it's something that I've written a lot about on our website. I applied functional medicine tools in my own life, practicing what I teach. And one aspect of that recently is setting boundaries to technology. That's just how we're talking right now, is technology. It's brilliant, and it connects the world. It gets you information at your fingertips. You can find anything online. Shopping is amazing as far as, online shopping, especially this time of year for people with holidays. But it's also a monster that can get super out of hand and out of balance, and it can you can spend hours kind of scrolling through your newsfeed or scrolling through your Instagram feed or your endless sort of trolling on endless websites. And you're like, how the heck did I even get here on this website? It immerses us. It's this sort of the unchecked version of technology can really be a source of stress and anxiety. So I put myself on an 8-week smartphone detox. You may be thinking, what the heck? I could never go 2 months without being on my smartphone. And I thought the same thing. And it's something that I wrote about. And actually, the link is on the comment section below. You can see my own experience with the smartphone detox. But I mean, my first reaction was probably like many of you, like, I can't be off my smartphone for 8 weeks. People need me. I have my work. I have my emails to check. I have my texts to check. Well, it's a lot simpler than you think. And at first I had sort of this panic attack and broke out in a cold sweat. I can't go off my smartphone. People needed me. Patients needed me. Colleagues needed me. I needed to be plugged in. But actually, if you think about this, it's not too long ago that people did business, people did work, people got along just fine without smartphones, but we've sort of led ourselves to believe that somehow this was indispensable for modern living, and it really isn't, and that wasn't my experience. So how did I do? How did I go off my smartphone for 8 weeks? How did I go off my smartphone for 2 months? Well, number one, I went analog. So my 7-year-old sweet baby girl, I went upstairs into her room. I knew she had some old cell phones that my wife and I had given to her as a toy because they were inferior now. They were obsolete cell phones. They basically didn't do anything but texted. I could do nothing but, and it wasn't even the fancy smart texting that we get today where it kind of auto-fills and auto-corrects your words. It was literally me typing out the letters. It was one of those flip phones that had a little keyboard on it. I thought that was so cool when it came out, but how quickly technology changes. So I went back analog. I basically could just text, I could just call, and use it as a paperweight. And then I realized how directionally challenged I was. I didn't know how to get around town, even though, I'm used to, I live in Pittsburgh, I could get around. Even when I was traveling, I was in New York City, and then we're back. So I needed a GPS. So what did I do? I didn't have my smartphone for a GPS, so I used my old GPS that was in the cupboard, and I used the GPS to get around. And you could get a map out. As someone said on Twitter the other day, if you really wanted to detox, you'd get a map out, which is kind of true. And I only used my laptop at work to access emails. So I still was plugged in to some degree. I have a job. I have to answer emails, so I do that during work hours. But then when work ended, I went home and I didn't check my email. It could wait till the morning. So what did I learn? My anxiety levels went down dramatically, almost to nothing. I didn't realize how much of my anxiety levels was really fed into by being constantly plugged into my smartphone. So that dramatically diminished the amount of stress and anxiety levels in me, especially this time of the holidays where people are running around like crazy. I would encourage you to do a smartphone detox now. Don't wait till after the holidays where everyone's doing New Year's resolutions. Do it now. What can you do now to really bring calm into your life and bring space into your life? So I noticed things more. I wasn't always seeing the present moment as a means to an end. Hey, Kevin. Hey, buddy. I wasn't seeing the present moment as a means to an end. I was actually immersed in the present moment, spending time with my family, spending time with my wife. I was a lot less distracted. I was a lot less stressed, a lot less anxious. So then I had to sort of retox, and I had to set boundaries after those 8 weeks were over, and I had to bring my smartphone back in smartly. So I set boundaries. When I walk in the house, I put my smartphone away. I put it on airplane mode, and I turn off the notifications so I don't see all the social media notifications. I don't see my email notifications. So when I do have my smartphone, I'm not constantly drawn to checking all the updates that I have to check in. There's a boundary set. There's healthy boundary set. And I would even encourage you to simplify the social media and all the things you have on your phone, to limit the amount of distractions that you have in your life. So it was a great social experiment for me to go on an 8-week smartphone detox. And this article really resonated with thousands of you over the past couple weeks when I posted the article online. So if you're up for the challenge, click the link below. It's the article on our website telling you the full story about my smartphone detox. And I really encourage you. And if you do it for yourself, let me know. Shoot us a message on this comment thread, or message us online on one of our social media channels. And I'd love to hear how your smartphone detox went. All right, guys, you can share this live feed with other people if this resonates with you, to really spread simplicity and get more social, meaning get more interactive with people and less consumed with media. And it's all about balance, guys. Again, it's how we're talking about today, but I just think that we need a little bit more simplicity in our lives for our health, for our hormones, for our brain, and for our relationships. All right, guys, have a great day.